feel like Gene Rayburn with this one on the match game. So I'm gonna do, if you know the reference, just play along. Seth David Branitz used to regularly be so stoned.
How stoned was he?
That he'd go into gas stations, pay for gas with cash, come out, get in his car, drive away, then discover he was still on empty, but he was too embarrassed to go back. He is no longer stoned, but he drives an electric car anyway. Seth David Branitz.
Hello. My work life began by delivering bulky stacks of the Sunday paper. I called to quit on the morning of a blizzard, and the boss wouldn't have it. The snow made it impossible to roll the booby cart, and as I crossed the overpass, I grabbed one bundle after another, heaved them up onto the railing, and threw them down onto the LIE. At 15, I worked for a pool business. I spent 9 hours on a July heat wave organizing a storage trailer full of toppled containers of toxic chemicals which burned my eyes and insides for days. On one delivery, the driver, Eddie, and I got incredibly stoned. I got out to help guide the huge truck in toward the driveway, but backed him into a telephone pole, which split instantly, cable snapping from the house, out of which ran a barefoot woman in a nightgown, handset and curly cord still in her hand. The bakery is where I first got to play with food, scraping floors on my knees, lugging 50-pound bags of flour up and down stairs, scrubbing pots and pans, twisting, rolling, knotting, and baking rolls, breads, and pastries. I loved my boss and the work, but the place was disgusting. Patrick was cheap and turned old breads and pastry into crumbs for the next batch of what have you. I once pointed out that a bin of white flour had been infested with tiny black beetles, expecting to be tasked with throwing it all out. Instead, he had me sift the batch and made Hamantaschen with the newly white flour. Next time this happened, the other baker put the unsifted flour into the mixer, added water, yeast, and caramel coloring, and turned out loaves of pumpernickel. Sorry. When I was a bagel baker, I sometimes burned 3 of the 5 shelves in my rotating oven because I was stuck in the bathroom doing coke. Owning the fancy North Shore cheese shop was a developing dream, but the family friend who was to be my silent partner caught on to my drug problems and immaturity and bailed. I got clean at 22, and when I was again employable, I played my music at bars and cafes at night and always worked days, including a stint as a telemarketer, for which I'm engaged in an ongoing karma cleanse. I took a temporary job flipping soy burgers in a hippie kitchen, which returned me to playing with food, which I loved. Then, when I lost my family in 2002, I was quite depressed and began a long, deep detox, lost weight, ate little, did yoga, and was inspired to become a colon hydrotherapist. It's exactly what you think it is. I became certified, and while cooking part-time, sought to build a clientele until my friend Dean declared, "Seth, you can make me a sandwich or you can give me a colonic, but you can't do both." Point taken, I cooked by day and played music at night for another 3+ decades, and I'm still playing with food, still squeezing in art and music and stuff like this, and specks of self-care and marriage maintenance, and I've all but raised 2 sons who don't know they still need me or just how much I still need them. I didn't see any of these million moments as cool or interesting or virtuous or funny in real time. I wanted to be somewhere else, doing something else. I'd say, this is temporary, or I'm just paying my bills, when I should have said, this is fucking awesome. I get to do, I get to play, I get to serve, I get to connect. I'm so lucky. And lately, I appreciate my path. I say, good work, kid, and forgive my missteps, and I console the younger versions of myself who set up impossible standards and missed out on what a privilege it was to do good work really well. I now remind myself daily. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure serving you today. Thank you for listening.